Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Cone back here again today with another video. There is not much time for intros because there is real-life NBA basketball happening right now. The preseason is in full swing. Most teams have played at least one game. A few teams have played a number of games. It's very exciting because the season is right around the corner. We're just a couple weeks away from the regular season beginning. I cannot wait. Again, it's been a really long offseason, so I've been diving headfirst into preseason action, and that has led to me having a lot of takeaways, a lot of overreactions, things that I feel like I want to talk about here in this video. So today we're going to be overreacting to the preseason. I know preseason doesn't mean much, but it's my channel, so I'm going to go ahead and do it anyways. Again, a lot of this will be overreaction, so keep that in mind. And I'd love to hear your takeaways down below in the comments about your team's preseason game so far. Let me know what kind of role player I should keep an eye out for because they had one good preseason game, things like that. Also, I won't mention every team in this just because I haven't had the biggest takeaways about every squad. If there's something I missed, let me know down there too. So let's start off at the top. My Oklahoma City Thunder looked great in their first preseason game. In fact, they looked insane. Now, they were playing a Spurs team without Chris Paul or Wemby, and they didn't have Shea or Dort, so hard to really take anything crazy away from that game. But there are a few things I'm very excited about. Specifically, Isaiah Hartenstein looked unbelievable in his first minutes in a Thunder uniform. He was grabbing some offensive boards. He was really diming up, had this great over-the-head pass to Alex Caruso for a mid-range jumper that almost made me pass out watching it. He had this great dribble handoff with Chet stealing off the help defender, I believe it was Harrison Barnes, to let Chet go ahead and get downhill and dunk, which Chet looked amazing by the way too. There's this video that's going around of his shot looking different and people are freaking out about it. It's just like a pre-game shooting drill. He's done it before, and Jalen Williams confirmed that on Twitter, saying that his jumper has not changed, which is good because he was a good shooter. Jalen Williams as well, by the way, looked insane. Both those guys, Chet and Dub, are going to make all-star jumps this season if you ask me. We'll see if they're both in the game because there's a lot of talent out west. But yeah, everything looked fantastic for the Thunder, pretty much confirming my belief that they're going to be the number one seed in the Western Conference, that they're the favorites to win it, that they're capable of winning 60-plus games. Yeah, not much has changed on that front. If anything, I'm just more bullish on the team now. Ajay Mitchell and Dillon Jones, the Thunder's two rookies, looked incredible out there as well. Ajay Mitchell really getting to his spots. Very, very smooth game. Almost reminds me a little bit of Jalen Brunson at times, and even a little bit of Malcolm Brogdon. I saw someone say that in the comments, and I see that a little bit. Dillon Jones, similar stuff, was looking great out there. Has really good feel, getting to his spots, knocking down shots, competing defensively. So yeah, the Thunder just looked incredible, and if you couldn't tell by my last video where I ranted and raved about them for 16 minutes, I'm very excited. Beyond that, Bam Adebayo. My Bam Adebayo stock, or the amount of Bam Adebayo stock that I have, has never been higher. I'm so in on Bam having a career year this season, specifically because he's been unleashed. He is shooting threes. He made it an active effort at the end of last season to put up some of those shots we saw in the Olympics a little bit, and so far through preseason, it's only been one game, but he's been shooting threes. He's putting those shots up, and it looks good. He made one three where he was kind of bouncing on one leg after, like shooters typically do, like he knew it was going in, or just staying in rhythm. That's different. Like Bam has never really acted like that with the shooting. If Bam can become even a somewhat competent volume, it doesn't have to be crazy volume, just hit a few threes per game at a decent clip, that completely changes everything for the Heat's offense, for him, for his stock. This could be a Bam Adebayo All-NBA year. I feel like people are really starting to recognize that Bam has been underappreciated in all-defense and Defensive Player of the Year conversations. I think there's a world where he really competes for his first depoy this season and ends up in an All-NBA team. He's knocking down threes. This is the year of Bam Adebayo. I'm fully buying into his stock. I have been all offseason after seeing him in the Olympics. And if the Heat want to go ahead and exceed expectations and once again be this underdog that maybe takes the world by storm when nobody expects them, they're going to need that from Bam Adebayo, and I think it's possible. I think Bam could really be the savior of the Heat this season, so keep an eye on Bam Adebayo stock and get it before it's gone because, in my opinion, it's going to run out pretty quick when he has a career year. Another guy that I've had a lot of stock into that I'm hoping for the big breakout from is Evan Mobley. Mobley just looked amazing against the Chicago Bulls. Now, I do want to note, the more that I've thought about it, and after watching the Bulls' first preseason game, there is a chance they're the worst defense in the NBA, or at least very close to that. They just don't have a lot of competent defenders. It's a defense anchored by Nikola Vucevic. Like, Giddey's not a good defender. Kobe White's not really stopping anybody. It's rough over there. So, again, it's just a preseason game against a terrible defensive team, but Mobley looked so good, so comfortable against Chicago. He was putting up great numbers. I forgot to grab them. Let me go ahead and pull them up real quick to give you the exact numbers. He was putting up 19 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 blocks. Shot a couple of threes, they didn't go down, but just the footwork looked good, the fluidity. Mobley looked great, and I'm hopeful that this can be the big breakout season for him. If you've been on the channel for a while, you'll know that Mobley was my favorite player in his draft class. I still think he has the chance to be the best player of that class for a long time ahead. Really keeping my fingers crossed, and if the Cavs want to enter that upper echelon of contenders, he's going to have to be the guy to break out. He's always been the X factor. We'll see if he can do that and carry it over past, again, the Chicago Bulls. As for the Bulls, it was a weird game for them. First of all, they got a new scoreboard on screen, if you don't know what that means, and it looks horrific. I don't know who approved that. It looks terrible. Also, like, Josh Giddey's out there, and that's still a weird thing. He had a really bad start to the game, but kind of figured it out and was being more aggressive later on, which he has to be for this Bulls team. They're going to need that. Matas looked amazing. Buzelis, their rookie. I'm really excited to see what he can do. Yeah, the Bulls, it's going to be a bad team this year, but there are some exciting aspects to them. Speaking of exciting teams, the Houston Rockets. I am so excited to watch this team for a few reasons. Number one, can Jalen Green take over what he did from the end of last season into this year? And his first preseason game, he looked great. Like, he was out there hooping, he was being aggressive, he was really in rhythm, and something that I think is going to be really beneficial for him and this entire Rockets team all throughout the season is Steven Adams. Steven Adams has done a great job all throughout his career of carving space. He was such an integral part to what Memphis did in his entire tenure there as that screener, that big body to just move people out of the way for John Morant to get downhill and get to his spots. And he was doing some of that for Houston. And Jalen Green was someone that was benefiting from that. Finished with 21 points, 3 rebounds on 50% shooting, 4 of 9 from deep in 20 minutes in that first preseason game. So that's really exciting. Sengun had 17, 4, 4, and 3 steals with a block, hit a 3 in there. I'm excited about this Rockets team. I have seen a lot of people saying that they could be the breakthrough team of the year, and I would love to see that. It's a squad that's been really pushing through this rebuild. Last year, they got close to making a play-in run, but didn't quite get there. If Jalen Green is going to carry over what he did from last season until now, they have a shot. And if Steven Adams can be that game changer, that's going to be a move that I think a lot of people have already forgotten about and are going to realize happened when the regular season comes around. They'll be like, oh yeah, Adams is on the Rockets now. That's going to go down as such a sneaky beneficial move for this team. And one more guy I need to talk about with Houston is Amen Thompson. I made a video around a month-ish ago talking about the Houston Rockets and how I was really excited about what they were building, but I didn't think they quite had that franchise guy yet. But I said in the video, if anybody on the roster was going to be that player, in my opinion, the guy with the biggest chance was Amen Thompson. His potential is through the roof, and he looked so good in their first preseason game. He was starting in the spot of Dillon Brooks, who wasn't playing in this one. 13 points, 3 rebounds. He had an assist, 2 steals, great defense, 6 of 8 shooting. Amen is so good. I feel like there's going to be a massive call for him to start amongst Rockets fans, amongst NBA fans in general, all throughout the season, and he might force the issue. He may make it impossible for Ime Udoka to not start him. Now, I do worry about the spacing because Amen was a horrific shooter last year that's going to have to come along. Didn't shoot any threes in this game. And Dillon Brooks was pretty solid last year, shooting the ball. Like, Alperen Sengun's not really a shooter. At least maybe he is going through the season, but he isn't yet. Jalen Green is pretty up and down. Like, they need some shooting, and Amen is not there yet. But his impact is just so big. Even if he's not starting, he's going to have to get a lot of minutes, and I feel like there's a chance if he's really providing and the Rockets do take that big jump, maybe he's in some 6th Man of the Year conversations. I don't know. I'm just so high on Amen Thompson. I really want to see him just be unleashed with Houston. We'll see when that happens, but it's only a matter of time in my opinion. Another player I want to give a shout out to is Jaden Ivey. Really good in that first preseason game, specifically against the Bucks. In the second one, wasn't quite as good, but still had a pretty good game overall. I'm hopeful that there is a big breakout coming for Jaden Ivey, because we know last year, for some reason, it seemed like Monty Williams despised him. He sent him to the bench for a little bit, and even when he was, playing in some of the last minutes, he was still like the 10th guy to come into the game, and then his minutes did go down. I don't know what went on there. That whole season was a fever dream, but through the first 2 preseason games, which again, don't mean a ton, Ivy looks really good, and the Pistons look a lot more like a competent team. It looks like the spacing is better. The overall scheme of the squad makes more sense. Guys are in spots and being put in positions to succeed, and Tobias Harris hasn't played with him yet. He's going to be a floor spacer for the squad. So I'm just excited for the Pistons. I hope this is a breakthrough year for them. I hope Jaden Ivey does make that MIP run. And hey, if he starts playing or continues to play rather like he has through the preseason games, I think we will see a Jaden Ivey MIP case, which again would be really, really exciting after the way last year went. Speaking of Eastern Conference play-in hopefuls, 2 teams that I'm in on this season, the Toronto Raptors, the Charlotte Hornets. Raptors, I'm really excited about Manuel Quickley and RJ getting a full season with that team. I love what Darko Rajakovic has done with that offense. I love the way they play off of each other. I'm just really excited to watch Raptors basketball this year. And RJ Barrett, I'm really hoping we get that big breakout from him this season. He looked so good at the end of last season with the Toronto Raptors. He looked really good in that first preseason game. Unfortunately suffered, I think it was a shoulder injury that's going to keep him out for the rest of the preseason. But that's okay. As long as he's good to go for the regular season, we saw what we need to see. I'm banking on the RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley breakthrough. I think this team has so much potential in them. Scottie Barnes, of course, can also come along as well. They've still got Jakob Poeltl there. The Raptors are going to be more fun than I think people realize. And then the Hornets. I put this out on Twitter. I might even make a full Hornets video because I continue to find myself buying more and more into them. I think the Hornets could definitely be a playing team this season. They could even give a squad in the playing tournament inside that top 8 because I think the top 8 is pretty solidified. A run for their money. The Hornets, there's just so much potential here. LaMelo has looked so good here in the preseason. He just had an amazing game. Who was it against today? It was against the Miami Heat where he went out there and had a 24-point, 6 rebound, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block game, hit 6 threes. LaMelo looked nuts in that game, and he was one of the youngest All-Stars ever. Anytime he's been healthy on the court, like last season when he was playing, he was so electric. He's just got to stay out there. He said he's wearing 2 ankle braces now, which he should be. I mean, that's what I do. I have flimsy ankles when I play basketball, and he's a world-class athlete, so I'm surprised it took this long, but I'm happy to hear that he's thinking about that ankle health. I just really need him to be healthy for a full season, and between him and Brandon Miller, who had a really good first preseason game, second one was not as good, 2 of 13 shooting, 1 of 10 from deep, but I think he's going to have a big second year. If they can get Mark Williams on the court, they've got like Nick Richards. I like the depth of a Josh Green, and Trey Mann has looked great through his first 2 preseason games. I hope he really gets unlocked over there. Tajon Salon looked really good, 15 points, 8 rebounds tonight in this preseason game against the Miami Heat. Like, I think the Hornets are building something. This is the first time in a while that I've been excited about the Charlotte Hornets and the direction that they're going, so just want to give them a shout out. I might drop a full video because I am really in on this team this year. If they can stay healthy, that's a big asterisk because they never really do, but yeah, keep that in mind. Buying into the Lakers, that's something that I'm starting to do. I like the way that they've been playing in this early going in the preseason. JJ Redick's style, it feels like there's more movement to it. I like the way that they're setting up LeBron and Anthony Davis. I feel like more guys are getting involved. It's not really as much of, Braun, go cook. Anthony Davis, go cook. You guys cook off each other. Braun, AD, pick and roll. I like the way that they looked. Don't Connect was really solid in that first preseason game. I'm not calling them a championship contender or anything, but the Lakers I do still think are going to be somewhat of a force in the Western Conference, and JJ Redick so far has made me a believer. And then one of the final things I want to note is the Phoenix Suns. They've had some interesting stuff going on. This isn't as much coming from the preseason, but I feel like they're going to have to change the starting lineup that they're going to go into the year with at some point. I really don't buy into that team's defense with Tyus Jones, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Yusuf Nurkic as their starting 5. I think it's going to be bad. I think they need a little bit more shooting in that lineup, although I like the way Mike Budenholzer has been utilizing the personnel so far to have them get threes up because they need to shoot more threes. I like the way that they've been playing. I also love what Ryan Dunn has been doing. If you didn't know, I went to UVA, so I went to the same school that Ryan Dunn did. I watched him in college a lot, and he's one of the most special defenders I've ever seen at the collegiate level. He's just a game breaker on that end. I think that's going to carry over, but the big question is there any offense there? Because he was an abysmal offensive player at UVA. Through the early going for the Suns in the preseason, like today, 3 of 5 from deep, had 10 points out there. He was really clamping up on Cade Cunningham, giving him hell on a lot of possessions, had a couple of blocks and a steal. If Ryan Dunn is like actually producing offensively this season, could be a legitimate game changer for the Phoenix Suns from day one out there. If he can just hit 3 semi-reliably, be a respected threat, that's massive because of the defense, which is something I think the Suns really need. Gives them a two-way player. I'm not going to go too crazy and say that is going to be the case this season, but maybe he's a bit more polished offensively. Maybe there is more potential than I thought from day one. And again, that could really change things for the Suns. So I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to mention for right now with the preseason. I might drop another one of these overreaction videos. Shout out to Dereck Lively. That's another guy I'll give a shout to. He had some really solid moments against Memphis. He had one play where he brought the ball all the way down and he finished around the rim with a little bit of a spin move. It was great. I saw one person say he looked like Giannis. It was not quite a Giannis move, but it was still really good. Shout out Guerschon Yabusele, who went perfect from the field in Philly's first preseason game. It was 15 points, 6 of 6 from the field, a couple of dimes. Really excited about what he can do. I think he could actually be a real rotational player for them. And if they get another guy through that gives them more depth, they really have a conversation for one one of the deepest teams in the league behind Joel Embiid. Zaccharie, Risacher, he deserves some praise because nobody's been talking about him for Rookie of the Year. One of the most under-discussed first overall picks I've ever seen. And tonight had 18 points, 3 of 4 from deep, 7 of 9, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. I think there's a real chance that he ends up starting for this team throughout the season. Maybe they can move like DeAndre Hunter to the bench or trade him. He was really bad in this game, 2 of 10 shooting. Another UVA guy, so I want to see him succeed. But I don't think it's out of the question that Risacher becomes just the more viable option there. So yeah, that's kind of all I've got, I think, for right now. Also, the Hawks in that game scored 131 points, by the way, 131 to 130 against the Pacers, who looked fine in the preseason game. Not really a lot to note from them specifically. Let me know down below in the comments, once again, what your takeaways have been so far, your overreactions for the preseason. Who's impressed you the most? Who has you worried? And yeah, I appreciate you watching. Leave a like and subscribe. Notification bell, hit that too to see future uploads. There's gonna be a lot coming as the season gets closer. Predictions are coming soon, my full season predictions. I'm just kind of finalizing some stuff. Also, I'm planning on doing a live stream soon to kind of have y'all help me predict the NBA season. That'll be something fun that I want to do. So that'll be coming out probably within the next week or so. Just keep an eye out for that. If you made it to the end of the video, you'll be one of the first ones to know. But yeah, I appreciate you watching one more time. I'll see y'all later. Real one, stay back.